Thank you all.
James, are you using your PowerPoint?
Yeah, do you have that?
Yeah.
Access Cheetah's phone.
Oh, lovely.
Do we have the,
Yes, I do.
okay, thank you. I'm just gonna, can I take this? Oh, it's mic'd here, so, all right, well, I guess I'm stationary, which I don't particularly care for, but it's good. Anyway, good morning, welcome to AOL. It's good to see how many folks have been to the DevFest before. How many folks have been to AOL for some event in the past? It's a good amount of you too. Well, good. So my name's James LaPlaine. I'm the CIO at AOL. And I thought maybe I would just start off a little bit giving you a quick overview. I don't know whose phone this is up here, but if you're missing your phone, Cheetah, is this yours? It's ringing. So AOL really, at AOL we talk a lot about the flywheel, and you know, in our business we run really three parts of the flywheel: a content business, which many of you are probably familiar with some of our brands in the tech space around Engadget and TechCrunch. We also own Huffington Post, MapQuest. There's a portfolio of about 80 or 100 web properties, and then we have a distribution, which is a way to connect to different parts of social aspects and global. These are some examples here around video content that we have with our AOL On properties, Huffington Post Live, and whatnot. And then the distribution is around how we engage consumers, both consumers and businesses, with the reach that we have. There's about 400 million UVs a month on AOL properties across our portfolio. And then last is our monetization. This is primarily in our advertising business, where we run a very large ecosystem for both supply, demand, exchange, and real-time bidding. First, I thought maybe I would go into a quick history here, and it's really not about AOL. It's actually about this article that I read over the weekend from Forrester Research that talks about these ages in these defined periods. And if we started in 1900, there's the age of manufacturing. And this lasted until about 1960. And if you think of some companies that did very well in the age of manufacturing, you think of Ford. And you know, we've all heard the assembly line and the stories around Ford's innovation. From 1960 to 1990 is really the age of distribution, and you know, some companies that really do well when you think about distribution are things like Toyota. And you know, because of the audience here, you know, many of us have taken things from manufacturing and applied them to software development, and you know, you get things like Kanban and some of these other areas that have grown. So when you think about age of distribution, those are the types of companies come up. And then, you know, from about 1990 to 2010, Forrester defined this period as the age of information. And you know, you'll recognize these folks, I'm sure, including one of our sponsors, Google here. This is really where information took hold and became you know, so universal, I think, that we just kind of all forget that this was a period of massive innovation and revolution. And then the next period, which Forrester is calling out that we're in now from 2010 onward, is really the age of the customer. And I actually added my own little flavor to this, and that's why there's two pieces here. I actually think we're in a dual age. One is the age of the customer, and one is the age of the creator. And what I think Forrester means by the age of the customer is not the golden adage of the customer is always right. We've all heard that probably ad nauseum. But more about the fact that the customer participates in the marketplace today. You've got more data at your fingertips, more mechanisms to get to that data and actually interact with companies, whether it's through social mechanisms like Twitter and have a real answer back from somebody that works at those companies than you ever could before. So customers are now participating in the marketplace, and I think that's what they mean by the age of the customer. My view is we're also in the age of the creator, and I think this is why this setting this event is so interesting, is because we're all digital creators in some sense. And you know, there's a great example here. I don't know if you can see that print on the very bottom is in 6-point font. This is called Hack. It's an open source font that has just recently been released, and it's made for all the folks in this room, which are developers, to ease eye strain as you're coding in small fonts with lots of windows up. This is also digital creation, right? So think of what we can actually do by releasing to the community and open source things and letting the community expand and building kind of on the backs of giants and others that build. Does anybody recognize what this number is? Any guesses? It's too early in the morning. This is the number of people on the planet, 7.27 billion people. And when you think about it, every one of them has a machine in their pocket that allows them to do digital creation. I think this just reinforces why this age is so interesting. My guess is that most of you that are here are creating things that are either unique or new or expanding on ideas that others have had, but we're going to touch those 7.2 billion people in some fashion, and that's what I mean by the age of the creator. I know it's really early so far, but how many folks have taken a photo already this morning? Right? Like, look around, or a video, right? So my guess is by the end of the day, most of you will have taken a photo. That's pretty typical, right? People are engaged in these things. We're creating tons and tons of data and content that we also ultimately have to store. There's a gentleman by the name of Douglas Rushkoff, who has this great phrase that I like to use, and I'll share that with you in a second. But first I want to say, every May we hold an event here at AOL for all the high school kids that take computer science as an elective, and we partner with Microsoft as part of their TEALS program to put that field trip on for the kids. And every year I've shown them this quote, which is program or be programmed. And what I think Rushkoff is talking about is not this. I hope you guys recognize. I showed this to my kids, by the way, yesterday, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Just sad. It's sad, right? What I think they're talking about, what I think Douglas is talking about is everybody consumes technology, but there's only a few that are going to be the makers of technology, and you guys are the creators of this, right? So you're the technologists that are going to shape the way we all live our lives. And you think of things like Internet of Things and connected devices. It's this audience and this excitement and energy, I think, from this room and these type of events that are really going to shape everyone's life, because everyone will be a consumer of technology. I was reading some profiles of the other speakers, and I know there's a few that actually are artists and designers. I don't know, anybody else draw or write? A few? How about play music? Anybody a musician? Lots of folks in that one, okay. These generally go hand in hand, and when I talk to the kids about this every May, that's also true. The people that are taking computer science as elective, they're also creating music or art or these other things. You know, the brain improves cognitive ability when you speak a different language, like a foreign language. It's true as well if you learn a programming language. So everyone should try to play music, whether you're good or not, doesn't matter. You'll have a new appreciation for music. I think the same is true about learning technology. This is a device that I just bought. I haven't hardly had a chance to play with it. It's called an Ableton Push. It's 64 pressure-sensitive pads. When you pair it with your laptop, it allows you to basically create, edit, perform music, and then release it. So it's kind of cool. These are new technologies, basically, that let the whole art of music publishing and creation happen at a single place on a relatively inexpensive laptop, which is pretty powerful. So let me close this by saying, you know, back to AOL's mission, we are really interested in connecting both the creators and the consumers on platforms that we build that bring together culture, right, from our society and the code that we craft. And that's where we think this synergy is happening, and why we believe there's an age of customers, consumers, and an age of creators. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that all those photos are not mine. I took them from Flickr with Creative Commons, so I didn't break any violation here. So thank you. I'm really excited about the event. I hope you guys have a lot of fun and energy and take something away from this. So thanks for listening. So next to get us kicked off is Mike Brown. He's the